There you go.
Okay. Let's get underway. All right. First up, people, we have to accept the minutes from May. So do we have any comments or corrections on that?
No, they look good to me. Let's approve the minutes.
Okay, so you're making a motion. Who seconds?
Yep.
I'll
Who's
second.
left a second?
Okay.
Since Dan.
All in favor? Any opposed? It's a small crowd. This is kind of funny. Okay, so our minute class, let's set that aside. I don't have much. I do want to, I forgot to make us the new form for business of the year. I kicked it off at the TBA and I have to get them a form too to put on the website. So we have to get going on that, get your thoughts going, discuss it next month, and we have to pick it in September. So the time goes by really fast. The other thing I have is that our bike rack got ordered, 2 bike racks got ordered for the trails. Come into $4,800, and we have the money set aside for those. They're going to be delivered to the town barn. Does anybody have any comments or anything, especially on business of the year? No.
Hey, Brian, where are those bike racks going? Just so that I can put that in the minutes.
We haven't discussed that yet.
Okay, all right.
Right now they're getting delivered to the town barn, and
Okay.
we're gonna let them know because they're gonna get this big box and wouldn't know what it was for.
Okay.
But they'll be for mainly the airline trail, but I don't know exactly where yet. Okay, Joe, I did not get a July budget report. I asked for it, and I don't know if Paula's on vacation. So what you have is the June one, the closeout of the year.
All right, well, with June, what was available at the end of June was $9,358.54.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get it. And as soon as I get it, I will pass it on to you. So, and get it to the rest of the group.
Okay.
Okay, new business adoption of trade names. We do have just one from Chad's Detailing. Now, I'm glad to see him because he's a young person. He's actually one of my son's friends. And he did detailing for Acura of Auburn for years and then went up to their Fitchburg store. He now works for Webster Sewer. So he's trying to start this up part-time apparently, but I'm glad he went officially registered the business. He does a good job if you need a detailer.
Nice. That's good. I like the mobile aspect of it. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so I personally vouch for him in case anyone, because you can get your car detailed even at work if it's allowed. So that was the only, let's see, where's my agenda? That was the only new adoption of trade name that was in the mailbox. Another business I put in here, the crossing is will be open soon. They're working on it now to freshen it up. That's the former pit stop in Four Corners. The owners are a couple of brothers, Mike and Scott Johnson. So hopefully that will open. Yeah, the crossing.
Is that what you?
Yep. That's what
That's confusing.
Well, it's not the crossings, and it's not in Putnam. So unless they change, it hasn't come across our mailbox, so it hasn't gone to the town clerk yet. I talked to the cook, and he cooked for the prior owners, so he's pretty excited, and they said they're going to freshen it up, and well, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully they'll be part of the TBA, like the last two businesses were.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's nice to have another restaurant. I finally got a chance to go to Max.
what'd you
Max Catering.
Did you like Max?
It was so loud and noisy
Yeah.
in there. I was with a friend of mine, and we just couldn't even hear each other talk. It was just very, very loud. But
Yeah, that's what my wife doesn't like about it, Joe. Because we really like the
Wow.
food.
Yeah.
Just so you know, business wise, they're expanding. They're gonna push their building out to the right.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Okay. So
So maybe they could separate the bar from the restaurant, because I mean it was
maybe.
just so crazy noisy.
But I asked Russ because the rumors were that he was buying Pit Stop,
Oh.
and it wasn't true. So that's why I had updated on that. TBA,
Good to know.
the TBA, the membership was up to 74 as of the last meeting. And we did have a really, really nice mixer hosted by Teague last night. So people got to see the Teague building, the facility, the grounds. Southbridge Credit Union sent 3 people. It was in collaboration with the Webster Dudley Alliance. So we had a good turnout. Dan did a very nice speech.
Thanks. Yeah, it was, I think it was a great night for sure. It could have been a little cooler, but I mean, that's the theme of the whole summer, so we're just gonna roll with it.
Well, we were in back, there was even some shade for a while. But their facility is really, it was surprising because I had never been in it. So I'm glad we got a chance to do that. Dan, 2 months ago, you asked me to bring up a budget request for TBA.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still?
Yep. Do you want to do that now?
We can. We're getting really, there's only a couple of things and then we'll get right on to Todd, so.
You want to do Todd first, so he doesn't have to sit through mine as well?
Can we just make a motion to change the order of our business?
Yeah, we don't
So
need a
can
motion.
accommodate Todd?
We don't need a motion.
We don't?
No. Yeah, because there's only a couple other minor things. If you're gonna take a minute.
Yeah, it's
I'll
gonna take a
just-
minute.
Okay, I'll just mention under old business, we still have an open slot for an EDC alternate. And the new business, I did have Business of the Year nominations. So think about that. We can get back to it. Under progress reports, there's nothing from Tira. I asked her and she's okay with not reporting or sending anything over to report. So if you'd like to skip right down to progress reports in number 3. And we'll catch up with other stuff later. So it doesn't matter, Joe, because we don't have any public, non-EDC people or anything that's gonna confuse them or throw them
Yep.
off. So anyway,
Gotcha.
I really like this proposal, Todd. We got. No, I don't know what happened with Charlie. Charlie sent his input, said, looks very impressive, said, is this talking about us? Probably meaning, is this really us?
Mhm.
This is
Joke,
Charlie.
yes.
And he said, as I read through it, I realize this is a list of projects we identified when Tira joined the town as director of planning. It is, it just like you read our minds, like stuff we've been talking about to improve, our marketing and increase the efforts. He did make a comment where there's a claim that as well, in quotes, as well as provide value for other business activities such as dining, shopping, and lodging. We don't have much for shopping. And of course, that's what we're trying to attract also, so. But that was his, and we say that all along. Otherwise, looks very impressive, and we should be able to get some mileage out of it. He did ask about other deliverables, like the enhanced social media tools. Brian Lafredo said, looks very impressed. No, Brian Lafredo said he reviewed it. He said he's impressed. You delivered with a professional approach with key elements that can speak to businesses looking to relocate. He liked the success stories, as did I. I'd like to throw a couple more in there too. Especially Lord Thompson Manor, because he addresses the need for his type of companion businesses that can succeed in concert with his business. And that's something that I say all the time. You know, there's some business, you'd have a car business in town, and they don't want any other car businesses because they think, oh, the competition is bad. The more you have, the more people come, because then they come to shop, and that's how you get your auto miles. And I've known actual in person people who didn't want competing car businesses in town. So Andrew's take on this is, yeah, the more the merrier, everybody makes out and the town prospers. So that was a good thing for Brian Lafredo to point out also. Now what'd you think? What'd you think, Joe?
Well, I thought it was excellent. I mean, you know, it was just easy to read, well spoken, put the ideas across that we've been trying to do. So now it's finally in black and white, so we can hand it to people so they know exactly what's on our minds and how we want to welcome people. So kudos, Todd. It was a good job.
Thank you.
What do you think, Dan?
I agree with everything everybody said so far. I apologize that I didn't have a chance to send my comments by email earlier. The only couple other little things that I'm trying to get back to it right now. I'm looking at this. Here we go. One question I have is I could be completely wrong. I thought Neil only owned the building at Thompson Liquors now and not the liquor store itself. And I don't know if that really matters.
No, it's a sticking point. His cousin runs it, so it's possible that he still owns it and his cousin manages.
Okay.
So I noticed
more
right,
curious
I noticed
than
that too.
anything.
And he owns, I didn't know this either, but he owns several apartments apparently too.
Yeah, and he came from the Boston area when he moved out here, so he saw opportunity in Thompson. Unfortunately, when he actually relocated to Woodstock. Not in town, but you know, we're thankful for him investing in the town. So he was a good one to include, Todd.
Yeah,
My only other comment is, can we add the Thompson Business Association to the list of contacts at the very end?
It's there.
I thought it was there.
It is there. Because I said the same thing, and then I looked and it was there. It's the second one down. Helpful websites.
Wait, where? I'm looking at the last page at the bottom. There's a list of phone numbers and
Yeah, we can add it there too easily.
Oh, okay. It is somewhere else. Oh, on this list here, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
These are official town. I didn't mind it not being here because these are official town offices.
Oh, okay.
And that's why
I didn't see the other list. I was just looking at that and I felt left out. Sorry.
Well, Dan, I missed it at first too. I'm saying, oh, we should add Thompson Business Association. There it is, number 2.
Right.
There's one
Cool.
thing, Todd, on the 4th page. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but the 4th page where we have a little map, the 3rd paragraph down, it says accordingly, the town is designated the Downtown Mill Development District, DMRD. It's the Downtown Mill Rehabilitation. As far as
I was looking at that too, because it doesn't match the acronym or the initials or whatever, and I'll check that with Tira, because everything that I have was written out Downtown Mill Development District, but it is DMRD. So it's maybe, I was wondering if it's supposed to be redevelopment or rehabilitation. Let me check that with her.
Yeah, somewhere it does say rehabilitation.
Okay, and I can check the plan of conservation and development and some other documents and just confirm that, obviously.
Yeah, oh, it's a minor thing, and it's just, if you're gonna do it, you might as well make
Yeah,
a
yeah.
note. And,
No,
and we
it
can,
stuck out to me for that very reason, Brian, is like,
Yeah.
shouldn't it, there's an R in the acronym, so it has to stand for something.
yeah, I'm not crazy about all these acronyms. I can't remember to save my life. I used to work at Intel. Everything was an acronym.
Yeah.
Everything.
So
Um,
I just
I've
thought
got
of
a que-
another question, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
What do we do with this now? Where does it go?
Yeah, so I think it has a lot of uses. It's, when you see it all together like this, certainly it kind of forms almost a brochure. And I was talking to Tira and saying, we're going to format this so we can have it online and it can be single pages that somebody can, if they want to print on demand. Now, obviously, we'll get you guys some printed copies too for special events and things of that nature. But it's also pretty modular. So, for example, I'm going to continue to add success stories. I have one for that blank page. I talked
okay.
to John Honig of Raceway Golf and the Thompson Motorsports last week. You got a really good article from him, our story from him. I also lined up Shelly from the brewery and Zach from the storage facility. They interestingly said, give me a month, because they both feel they're at critical phases or stages right now of launching their businesses and in working with the town. So I'm due to talk with both of them by the end of this month. So we'll have a series of those going forward, and those actually can be pretty modular. Those can be social media posts, right? So we would have a whole series that we can put out. And like, so it'll be a complete story. Obviously, if we have the whole piece, that might be something a developer or business owner might want to have. We also have the individual pieces. So there's facts about Thompson, things of that nature. And
Yep.
this is all content that we hope to have available. As I mentioned, we can put it on websites. We can put it on your page on the town website. We can have it available in other digital formats as well too. We can, kind of chunk it out, and this could be topics for a series of newsletters. If you guys want to feel, that's another way to keep in touch with people as you develop a contact list. So like I said, I'm designing it so it's pretty modular and pretty flexible, but we want to tell a story, right, about Thompson and why it's attractive for developers and potential business owners. So as we come up with a plan that says, hey, we need to make contact with these people and start this engagement, I wanted to show, I wanted to put the story together so we have something to point to and say, are we on the right track? And from the feedback I'm getting, I think we are. We've really started on the right track, and we can continue to expand this story as development happens. So that's why I've also, chosen to highlight projects like 65 Main, because that's really innovative, and that shows the town is very forward looking and proactive in a way that really supports what some of the other people who have gone through this are saying about the town. Like, it used to be this way. I mean, people were pretty frank when and repeating without being prompted. What you guys told me is like the zoning used to be really fragmented in the past, but changes were made by the town and by the EDC that kind of facilitated that process being much easier. So I've also heard that, people find the town pretty responsive anytime. As one person said to me, I don't go to town hall that often, but when I'm there, I get answers, So
Yeah.
I think that's important to show that, the town itself is eager to have these conversations and to facilitate the process. And that's why the process is in here as well, too. I do have very detailed comments from
Could
Tira.
you take her out once more? Because it looks like we're gonna. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
That's our recording secretary.
Okay. So where was my train of thought going? So I do have detailed comments from Tira. I'm gonna put it all back together. I'm gonna put that other story in. And once you guys, if you have anything specific you want to send me, we'll figure out what the best way to do that is, whether you can send, I think you're okay as a commissioner that I can get individual emails, right?
Yeah.
And even if you, even as you say, even if you guys CC each other, I don't think that violates anything FOI related, because we're not voting and we're not spending money or anything like that.
No,
So,
when we're looking for feedback, we should be.
yeah. So I think that would be helpful if you do, do respond to and want to copy everybody. Everybody can see what your colleagues are saying, so we can get this all fleshed out. And like I said, at this point, I think we've got enough to at least get started, and we can continue to add to it as we go.
Yeah, like you said, I like the fact that Andrew brought up the zoning changes for Lord Thompson Manor. Those are nice stories. I would like to see maybe Thompson House of Pizza and LB's. LB's has been here for, I don't know how long, longer than I have. And
Yeah, I reached out to about a dozen or so people, and I still have some that I have to double back and just send reminders out. But like I said, I got 2 in the wings, in addition to Thompson Motorsports, which we'll put in this week.
yeah, that should be huge because they've been here since the 30s.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But,
they're having a good time over there with both the golf and the motorsports.
Yeah.
When I send it to you, you'll see his business is booming. So,
And well, ice cream it blooms in the summer too.
Yeah, the guys got event planning,
Well,
the Speedway.
yeah, and they also hold that annual car cruise to benefit Day Kimball Hospital. I think that's next week. They use part of the front course for that. All classic cars and motorcycles parked there. They just let the charity use it.
Right.
But Thompson House of Pizza, I think they've been here since 1987, so that's a good run.
Or longer. Or longer.
I think it was
well,
87, Joe, because that's when my son was born. That's why that year is in my mind. I could be wrong, but
Okay. When my kids were young, and they ever had a school event or whatever, Thompson House always came through and either donated the pizzas or fed a crew of people. They're great. They're really people who make a lot of donations, but constantly they would always make the pizzas for the schools and the kids. And
yeah, they sponsor sports teams and all kinds of things. So yeah.
I do have a question and a comment for Todd when you're done talking about whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say, Todd, if you need more suggestions or you need help contacting these people or following up, just let me know.
yeah, like I said,
I'd be happy to go talk to them and get something for you.
Yeah, Tira gave me a lot of email addresses and phone numbers, and so I made a first pass at probably, like I said, about a dozen. I don't know if Thompson House of Pizza was on that list, so I just noted that, and we'll make contact with them as well too.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, what do you have?
A couple things, actually. It's a suggestion or a comment on all the photos that are in this particular piece of brochure. It would be, could you identify the buildings? When it's I know some of the signs are already there, but there's a couple of houses and there's a barn. And there's a picture of 65 Main, which looks like a shabby old house, but I know it says 65 Main at the top of the page, but that other place right on Route 193, maybe people wouldn't mind if the pictures were not highlighted, but there's Greek Village, there's a picture of that. And also, maybe what made me think about it was I looked at this aerial shot of trees and streets and houses that look like mansions. I'm thinking, where in the heck was that picture taken?
I'll have to ask my art director. Yeah, everything we chose was kind of placeholder to get reactions as well too. And certainly we could, yeah, I mean, we could, if you guys say, hey, I like this can we change that out? And I do have some comments from Tara on some of that. But we can certainly add captions to the photos too, so that people have a sense of what they're looking at, particularly if they're from out of town.
That would be
they're not
helpful
gonna-
because
Sure.
I cannot identify any of these houses from the air. I mean, they look like huge houses, and I'm trying to think what neighborhood was that in Thompson. I know most of the neighborhoods in town, and I couldn't recognize it. So if it's a stock photo, then I understand. But if it
No,
isn't, it would be nice.
We were, to the best of my knowledge, it's not a stock photo in here. All of these are authentic, real Thompson images, and I'll confirm that as well too. And yeah, certainly I think that it's going to be helpful, particularly for the out of towner who doesn't know any of these landmarks, to say, what am I looking at? So we can caption these. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that overhead, I've been trying to figure out where that is.
I see a little church on the. It doesn't. Maybe it. I don't think it's Thompson Common.
Wait,
or is that
go
maybe
in.
it is?
Are you talking about
That's-
Are you talking about on page 7 that in the
Yes.
the straight? That's Thompson Common. That's the church in the bottom left hand corner, the steeple.
I just recognize the church now, and
Yeah.
that's
And so that's like the new
the Mason House.
The Mason.
Yes, that's the Mason house.
Oh, okay, got it. Now I get it. I just couldn't for the life of me figure out what the heck, where is this big mansion? And I should have thought about that, but things look so different from aerial. And with the red roof over on the side, that's the old library. So yeah, now I get it.
Yeah, and I see
Sorry,
the post
Todd.
office. Okay. No,
I-
Joe, that's
I
good.
forgot
Now
I
we
had
got it.
muted my mic, and I'm sitting here going, I'm going, Joanne, you talking about, and nobody's listening. You guys all keep talking, and I'm going. Finally figured out I was muted. So.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Now that's Thompson Common. That's why it looks so great. Okay.
Yeah, to Todd's point, reading through this, where the way it's modular, I know that, if a business is coming into town, they want to know some town criteria like population and all that stuff, and even the median age, they might want to know depending what type of business, but they could go to their own section of success stories and how easy the town is to deal with. Maybe they don't care about the pictures at first. It's modular. They can go to the write-up section of success stories. Because I know when my future wife was moving into town, it was all about the town website. The population of the school, type of education, type of town it was, and any business researching is going to go. And if this stuff is readily available, brochure or not, if it's on the website, it's a huge step.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Nice.
How big do you think this will get? And it doesn't really matter if it's modular, but
No, I think, as we print stuff, as you know, you have to do it in increments of 4 to pages. So,
Yes.
it's like you can't have an odd page, but if it's used primarily digitally, we can add to the PDF or whatever the final file is, as well as we can turn it into, standalone pages as well too. So, it certainly will help sustain a marketing campaign if it's built that way, because we can just reformat this content for different types of pieces. Similar to what I've seen in some of the meetings that we went to, for example, with the real estate guys and the banking, there was one gentleman there, and you guys know this. One gentleman there, he was the handout king. He had something.
Yes.
He was one of the real estate, So, as I said, if you're going somewhere or Tira's going somewhere and you don't want to have these, a full-fledged sheet of a bunch of sheets or a full-fledged brochure on the table because it's only going to get tossed or whatever, we'll just bring the pertinent information, and that way it can be varied to the audience interest as well too.
yeah, it'll be handy, even for TBA, Dan. When we get people who are thinking about starting a business or
Right.
thinking about expanding a business, the success, even the success stories, because they may not realize, you know, how long Thompson, House of Pizza has been here, or how long the Speedway was here, or how many changes they made over the years.
Right.
People think, oh, they just started out successful. Well, no.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I
we could
kept
use
all of
parts that.
those in first person context. They're all direct quotes. So you know, I didn't embellish any of them. And I think, you know, we certainly kept all the positive comments in, but and there weren't that many negative comments, but I let the folks tell their own story, and it kind of just resonates with what we've been discussing. Like, it's all about location in some regards, or it's all about demographics, which is interesting because, you know, we were kind of telling ourselves that maybe the community and traffic counts are a little small for certain types of businesses, where I've got at least 2 out of the 3 we've talked to so far saying, hey, the demographics are great, you know, for their type of business. So that's encouraging, I think. And then I'm going to work with Tira too, just to kind of add some suggestions to the types of businesses that would thrive in town, you know, whether it's light industrial or service oriented, some of the things that we discussed, just so we can be relevant to the types of development and the districts. You know, Tira talks about, for example, you know, infill development, you know, filling in spaces that have some development on either side, but maybe it's a vacant lot, or maybe it's a certain type of business that supports something else that's next door to it. As well as, you know, trying to get interest in the existing structure, i.e. the river and mill, that will get people thinking about that, and hopefully making contact with some of the property owners, but facilitated by the town, you know, so that some of these conversations can be accelerated and not sort of, you know, keep conversations in the know, so that you guys know what's going on, as well as the town, to anticipate people coming in and submitting applications for certain types of things, or requesting tours, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, as you talk, you know, my comments are all are good. I love the way the mill at 929 was framed, because people coming into town, even people who live here, nothing's going on over there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how many meetings we have. Nothing's going on over there, and to just include that, to show that we're moving forward. You may not look at now, and then you have the traffic pattern kind of information, the amount of traffic, where it may not look like it, but that might be just right for your business coming in. You just included a lot of stuff that, like everyone said, we've talked about. Geez, you know your stuff.
Well, the thing is that, you know, no community is perfect, and we know that, but I think Thompson is really trying, and there are some things that you can certainly point to that are attributes and supportive of business, that, you know, and it has a good sense of history to it as well too, because we can point to manufacturing, we can point to the agricultural economy, and the fact that that's still relevant today. I mean, it may not be large mill buildings, but certainly, as far as having access to a workforce, transportation to major metros, it's there and it's feasible, you know. And I think, you know, the affordability of the community too is also something that we can point out in regards to, well, you know, if I'm going to hire there, people are going to need places to live. Do you have that? You know, again, it may not be perfect for every type of lifestyle, but certainly there is a way of fitting these pieces together that is going to appeal to certain types of businesses and developers.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we should mention, maybe not. Just stuff runs through my mind. Access to medical facilities. We don't have one in town, but we are close. Hospital in Putnam and the hospital in Webster.
Yep.
So they're both nearby, even though we don't have a town doctor. We do have a town dentist.
Wasn't the medical center on Riverside Drive? Aren't there doctors there?
I have no idea what they do. I forgot all about that place, because It used to be a Quest Diagnostics in there and they closed it up, I think, maybe just before COVID.
Okay,
Um,
because there used to be an expansion of Day Kimball. I mean, years and years ago, like 40 years ago, my OBGYN's office was there. So I don't know really if anybody is really in there now at all, but it's something to think about.
Yeah,
to
maybe I'll
mention.
check on that because there's always a couple cars there, but it's nothing major. It's
Mhm.
not like the old Hubbard or Day Kimball. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, now that we mention it, now I'm gonna find out what goes on in there, Joe. Nothing to do with the brochure,
Okay.
probably, but
Yeah.
anything else you need from us right now, Todd?
No, just, if you think of other comments you want to send, email those over. I'm
Okay.
going to be working on a second draft, so that'll get circulated, probably next week. Because I want Tira to look at it one more time again too. She's fact checking and doing some other stuff. So, we'll just keep this moving. And as I mentioned, I know there's probably some, as the community comes back after the summertime, there's probably some events and things in the fall that would be an ideal time to kind of kick this off. So now that we have some content to talk about, so
Yeah.
Dan will accompany the marketing piece. We'll pinpoint, how exactly we're going to use the content as we talked about. We discussed some things tonight, social media and website content and newsletters and things of that nature. And then we should have, the direction as well as what the message is going to be.
Yeah, our big town event will be Community Day, the first Saturday in October. And that's a good time to have more information and stuff when the town
Yeah,
comes
even though
together at
it's
Riverside Park.
probably primarily town residents, it's some good PR to let people know that people who say, hey, there's nothing happening and what is anybody doing about it? Because you get those comments. And
Oh, yeah.
as I do,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
in my own community. And this, I think, will at least help you be a little bit of good internal PR, put it that way.
Well, what we're trying to do with Community Day is expand. So businesses from outside are invited.
Okay, great.
We have the car cruise where people come from the surrounding towns, just park on the field just to look at the cars. It's not a car show.
Mhm.
And it gets them to Community Day. People come to see the fire trucks and all kinds of things. So
I think that's great. And I'm a big believer of, you never know, who your neighbor knows. Somebody always has a connection you may not have thought about, and this might be the right thing at the right time to say, hey, I wasn't thinking of Thompson this way, but I do have somebody who's looking to relocate a business or buy
Yeah.
a piece of property or whatever it might be. So I think it's good to leverage all those connections.
yeah, that's what we do. All right. Anybody have anything else for Todd right now?
No,
No,
not
I'm
me.
all set.
All right. Yeah, we'll see if we can get some more comments from you and
Oh,
oh,
I
Yeah.
was just gonna ask, Todd, you just mentioned that Tira gave you some really detailed comments. Did she send those to us as well? Did I miss them or?
No, I think her intention was to have you guys react to the first draft, which is what we've done when it went around. We got some comments that Brian read, as well as to consolidate whatever comes back from your group, so that it can show you a second round that everybody's had at least one look at and had a chance to make comments on. So she gave those to me, and then
Okay.
she sent those in. I wasn't working. It was the Friday after the 4th. She was probably the only one in town hall, she said. So that was the day those came in. So I just decided to hold those for another week till we could have this meeting tonight and say, hey, now once we're close and we have everybody who's at least had one look at it, we'll send around the second piece.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jen was just making sure he didn't miss something,
Right.
Yeah.
which we do. We get so many
Read your
emails.
emails, Dan.
I know.
So everybody's all set with Todd. We can let him go.
Yeah.
Yep. You can
Unless you
go.
want to listen, you're welcome to listen, but I'm sure you have other stuff to do.
I'm still in the office, so I'm heading home, but thank you very much. And, yeah, feel free to email me or call me if you think of anything else.
Have
All
a
right,
good-
thank you, Todd.
Thank
All right. Have a good evening, guys.
You too. Bye.
you
Bye.
too.
Okay. Back to business.
Back to
Um,
TBA.
Yeah, we might as well get back to you, Dan. You were asking about a budget request.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so I'll get to the number right off the bat so everybody has a chance to let it sink in. 3,100. So the reason I'm asking for this is so that the TBA can work in conjunction with, the current offices of the town, the selectman's office, the planner, and the Economic Development Commission, and our current marketing plan, to bring new business and subsequently more money to the town. I also think that this will give us something tangible to present to the budget committee next year and possibly be able to increase our budget back to where it used to be, which would really just offset the amount of money anyway. So a couple of things about, my presidency, for the TBA. I took it over, and I think maybe most of you already know this anyway, but when I took it over, Charlene was done. She was pretty much saying, if you don't do this, the TBA is going to end. So I took it over. I didn't have any experience as a president. So some of the things that I've done since I've taken over is increase the membership from 26 members approximately when we started to 73 right now. When I started, we weren't doing really any events or mixers, and now we've established a routine of doing 4 mixers per year. They're getting more and more successful each time we do them, so I think that's good. Bringing in, another thing about that I didn't have here in my notes, but is, like what we did last night, which you already mentioned, bringing in the Webster Dudley Business Alliance. So it's, just expanding our networks and making more connections with our neighboring towns. Social media and website development. We really didn't have much of that at all. We didn't have a website at all, right, Brian?
We did it. Actually, we had one before Charlene took over.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember having one when she, yeah, now that you mention it.
Well, anyway, yeah, we have a great website now. I just want to mention, Jody Erickson, your page today. She just stepped down as one of our board members, but she took over at the same time I did and helped me, and she created a fantastic website for us and social media. We were doing really good on that. We lost our social media girl, but I've got a plan to get that back, and we're still doing really good. We've got one of our members is a photographer, and he's been doing a lot of coming to all our events and taking pictures and stuff like that. So we do really well with our social media, and it's growing all the time. And I've created systems and processes. So when my goal is to be turning this over to a new administration at the end of this year, for next year, and I'll have some stuff ready for them, so they they'll know what they're doing when they take over. And I'm also, another thing that I want to mention about that is, my goal hopefully is that this new administration is going to be comprised of some younger members of the business community, some people that will have a little bit more time than I do, and just we'll take what I've started and take it to the next level, what we've started, and take it to the next level. So total income last year for the TBA was 15,000, a little over 500. Total expenses, just shy of 16,000. So that left us with a net profit of negative $392.85. Most of our money is currently spent on advertising and promotion, as well as supplies for our events. Other expenses, insurance, office supplies, computer and internet, postage, and donations. TBA, so this is what we're gonna use the money for, and actually, I'm gonna play the audio for you before I start talking about this, so let's do this first. Can you guys hear this?
The Killingly Business Association is growing with more members and more activities to promote the wonderful things happening in Killingly. Are you a member yet? If not, join them as they work together to support and grow local business. Participating members include
Heirloom Food Company, The Burns Agency, Awards in Printing, Joseph's Jewelers, and The Wireless Zone.
See the Killingly Business Association online at killinglyba.org and be sure to like them on Facebook.
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
Yep, heard it.
yeah, that was loud and clear, Dan.
Okay, good. I got one more.
When you think of Woodstock, Connecticut, you may think of rolling hills, historic farms, and charming vistas. And that's all true, but there's also a vibrant business community of retail shops, restaurants, wineries, antiques, arts and crafts, farm stands, and more, all intermingled with light industry and service-based businesses. The Woodstock Business Association invites you to join their organization, like the Loomis Team, Boston Millinery, and Pendleton Associates. Meetings are held the first Monday of each month. Just visit explorewoodstock.com or find them on Facebook and learn more about the amazing opportunities for business in Woodstock.
All right, so
I hear them all the time, Dan, and yeah, they're great ads, and if that's what you want to do.
right, yep. Okay, I just gotta get. I'm sorry, I gotta find my paper here again. Okay, so currently we are with Winnie. We only do the Winnie Spotlight. So we go on the radio once a month on the third Tuesday of every month, and we bring two of our member businesses, and we're on the air with Winnie with Gary O for about 20-25 minutes. That cost us $90 per month, total of $1,000, $1,080 per year. The Woodstock Business Association does the same thing for the Business Spotlight, but they also do 16 30-second commercials, 8 and 8 in the morning drive and 8 in the evening drive. And that costs $190 per month, $90 for the Spotlight and another $100 a month for the ad. So it's a total of $22.80 per year. And the Killingly Business Association is doing the Business Spotlight every week, and running 35 30-second ads. And that's actually a really good deal because I'm assuming it's because they spend more money with WINY. They pay the $90 per week for the Spotlight, and the ads are included with that. So overall, they're spending more money, but they're getting a better value because they're not paying for ads on top of the Spotlight like we would be, or like Woodstock Business Association is right now. And so the KBA is a line item directly on the town's budget for $5,000 a year. I talked to Jason Verno, who's the president of the KBA, and he said he's not sure how that happened. It was before him. But they're maintaining that. So they use that money primarily for their Winnie advertising. And then the PBA doesn't ask the town, Putnam Business Association doesn't ask the town for money because they get a ton of support from the town in other ways, like police services, EMS services for all the events that the PBA puts on in the town, and the police department comes out and sets up the roadblocks and provides the EMS, and they allow them to use the town-owned properties for the events and all that stuff. So I talked to actually Karen Osprey from Winnie Radio, and she was the one that explained that to me. That's why they just don't even ask for anything financially from the town. So our current investment, TBA's current investment with Winnie is $1,080 a month. I feel like we can pledge, the TBA can come up with another $500 to contribute to that. And if we can do the same package that the KBA is doing, is what I want to do. And the total cost of that is $4,680. And so that's where I come up with the $3,100. And that's all I got.
Did you just say it was $1,000 a month for Winnie?
No, $1,080 a year.
Oh, you said a month.
Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry. I just said that.
Yeah, we did say a month because I
Sorry.
knew what you meant, but I wrote month too.
No, it's,
Okay, I wrote it down and I said, oh my God, $1,000 a month, you're gonna need 12 grand.
right. No. I have this all written out. I wrote it all out, so I could share it with you guys if you want, so that you can see it. You let me know.
So you're asking EDC for the $3,100, or is that, so would that be part of our budget, Brian, or would that be in addition to what our budget is?
Well, it's something to talk about. Dan wanted to bring it up and give us the specifics. It's nothing to vote on right now because we have to look at the budget. If we had brought this up in March, we could have talked about it for the current budget. Now we have to see if we do dig some money out of the budget, we have to sacrifice something. Not that it couldn't happen, it's just that we can't decide tonight.
Yeah, I didn't expect to decide it tonight for sure. I wanted to just present what I'm talking about. And again, I'd just like to reiterate, I guess, I feel like, and I'd love to hear how you guys think about that. But if we do this and we can, a year from now, we can show some positive results. We can show the Thompson Business Association growing and hopefully some people coming into town, as well as everybody involved in the town is listening to WINY and hearing that what we're doing to help. And then we go back to the budget and say, hey, this is what we did with this money last year, and we want to increase because of that. It's likely that we'll be able to get that increase. And again, that will offset this and make it really go away. So,
well, even if we could sustain it without an increase, that would be doing well.
Right. Or
because we always have cuts.
Or once the TBA can show that this was of good value to EDC, maybe we can just move it to a town budget line item instead of going through EDC.
Correct.
In a couple years or something.
Dan, do you get membership fees from your members?
We do. Yep. Absolutely.
And so what do you usually? You obviously need. The money that you get from your current memberships, what do you spend that money on? Any other advertising?
Yeah, most of it we spend on advertising. That's what I said at the beginning. Our total income last year, 2023, was a little over 15,000. We ended up with a net profit of negative 392. And which we're supposed to, because we're a nonprofit, so we're not supposed to have a profit at the end of the year. So that's fine. But yeah, we put all of our money goes back into it. And then, full transparency, the budget is something that I haven't really ever dove into as the president. Just never really thought about it because the past treasurer is also the current treasurer, and they always just did their thing. And but now I'm at this point, I'm starting to dive into it, and so I'm going to clean that up a little bit, hopefully before I leave at the end of this year as well.
Okay. So it should be on our agenda for next, now, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at least to talk some more about it, because it makes sense. The way Dan puts it benefits the town.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and other towns are doing it.
Could easily get shut down,
and
but you could also justify bringing it up.
I listen to Winnie all the time, and lots and lots of people do, and so, boy, that certainly that would be a well-spent money for advertising.
Yeah, I think so. And I thank you for saying that, Joanne. And what you just said a second ago too, all the other towns are doing it. I only mentioned Killingly and Woodstock, but obviously the Putnam Business Association does it, Plainfield, Brooklyn, all of the towns around us are utilizing that resource to attract businesses.
Yeah, it's just with Putnam, they have so many members and so much more money than we do.
Oh,
you really compare? Well, we can compare to Woodstock and Killingly.
Right.
And Pomfret and, smaller populated towns.
Right.
But Putnam, we started Thompson Business Association based off of Putnam. When we first started this, Brian, were you involved when the TBA first started?
Yeah, I'm one of the
I know,
founders.
Brian, you were, but you started it.
Yep, me and
I
Jim
know
Northridge and a couple other people. And yes,
yeah, and I remember going in Putnam with Ron Kader to
Yeah.
see how they did it, so I could report back to the Thompson EDC. So, yeah, Putnam was a catalyst, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, a kickoff meeting, we had Gary and Karen Osprey come to our kickoff meeting
Yeah.
to tell us
We had
how
a
it
meeting
was
at the-
done and how they did.
Yep.
Remember our town planner?
But that was a long time ago. At Valley Springs. Remember we had some kind of a meeting at Valley Springs?
Yeah, we had over 100 people.
That has been 15 years ago, probably.
It was 2011.
Can I ask Amy
Oh, that was cool.
for feedback on that at all?
Say that again?
I said, can I ask Amy for feedback on that at all?
She may not be listening, Dan.
Okay.
She let us in, but she had a whole bunch of stuff going on. She said, I talked to her before
Yeah.
the meeting.
That's okay. Just curious. So I'll email my sheet that I wrote this all out on, so you guys have it, because it's got all those numbers. So between now and next month, if you want to look at the numbers again, you'll have it.
Yeah, so I usually sit down with Tira throughout the month, so we can, when she comes back from vacation, I can fill her in on what we talked about.
Nice. Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for everybody for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay. I assume we don't have any more comments on that. Okay. Back down just a touch again on business of the year. Start thinking of nominations. Remember that it's businesses, owners who have had a presence in town, contributed maybe in multiple ways over the years, whether it's, you know, sponsoring the sports teams or serving on boards or and that final criteria that we're not telling the rest of the world about is that I run it through the tax office to make sure they're current. We got a lot of flack 2 years ago. They said 4 out of 5 of our last recipients had some type of tax issue. Lynn, don't put that in the minute.
Yep, got it.
This is, we don't want to put people off, but this is just among us who vote. I just don't want to, yeah. I don't want to sound like we're picky, but Rennie had gone to the first selectman about it. And everybody came at me after the one before last year. So that's the final criteria.
That's important.
Well, yeah, at first I thought it's not really related. You know, they were good business, but then I'm thinking we're talking about how you support your town. And
Right.
if you're supporting your town by sponsoring a sports team, but not paying your taxes.
You're using the town's money to pay you to
Yeah.
sponsor the sports team. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought about it. I said, well, yeah, it does make sense. And that's why I brought it to you guys last year. I actually held on to that for a year before I brought it up to the EDC crew because I didn't want it to get out and we weren't going to correct any past mistakes. So I just made it part of the criteria. Does anybody have any off the top of your head, any potential nominees? And you don't have, I'll get the form out to you and that'll remind you too. I'll just do up a 2024 form.
I don't. Every time you say it, I try to think and I haven't come up with anything yet, but I'll keep it in mind.
Okay. Yeah, because then we can talk about things in August. We can talk about it and hash it out in September and pick one with a backup. Be nice if we have a backup. All right, moving on. Under grant applications, which I didn't get any, I asked Tira and she felt that we were fine. Upcoming events. Summer concert series, we have one at the end of September and one at the end of July rather. And then again on August 3rd. Community Day, October 5th. Turkey Trot, November 10th, Winter Festival, December 7th. Hoping to make that another success and involve TBA again. Well, businesses, not the association itself, but the TBA businesses. It's a chance to get out there. I also sent you the list of the rest of Thompson Rec activities for the year. Bus trips starting, actually they had one out of order, I'm sorry. Because I have September and then the next one is August, but I actually took it from their list. So anyway, starting August 15th and going right through December for bus trips, and then the events, including the townwide tag sale, community day. They do volunteer of the award. We do business of the year award. We're hoping TBA can do Taste of Thompson again with the pizza contest. That went over pretty well last year.
Yeah.
TBA will handle that. Then December 7th, they also list the Thompson Winter Market and Tree Festival. Because they're Thompson Rec is the one putting this all together. So that's it for that under upcoming events. Under the downtown core revitalization, we talked to Todd, and I'll tell you that the next public workshop meeting is next Wednesday, 6 to 8 in the community center. I will not be at that one. My car show is next week, and I'm flat out from last week and right through July 28th.
Where is your car show?
Foxborough,
When
Massachusetts.
is it? When? What is it? When?
It's July 27th. That's Saturday. See, the thing with the car show, it's all American Motors, so it's a special make. But it's a 2-day event, so I do T-shirts and dash plaques and DJ and raffles, and we have a banquet. I do entertainment at the banquet. We have an auction at the banquet. So it's dealing with all the different factions and facets, plus paperwork you wouldn't believe. So I'm just dizzy from now until a week from Sunday.
Well, if you think about it, send me a link or something. Send me something about it, because I like car shows.
Oh, it's a nice one. Really nice people. You won't see any Chevys. It's all American Motors, Pacer, Gremlin, Nash, Hudson, Rambler. But it's a group of nice people, and no charge for spectators. People bring their kids, their grandparents. Anybody who wanted to, take a look is totally welcome. So anyway, that I won't be at next Wednesday's workshop, and I should be able to hit the August one. So last up, let's see, citizens' comments. I had moved to the end last month so that we can get through our last meetings, so I get through Todd's stuff, but we have no citizens. Do we have any comments by commission members?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
So under next agenda, I'm making a note for TBA budget item. Like I said, I'll talk to Tira in the meantime too, and it'll be in our minutes. So we can at least get some discussion going on that. I think it's worth talking about, see what we can do. So at that, if nobody has any more comments, I'm sure Joanne is always happy to end before 8 o'clock.
Look at this, it's before 8, I can't believe it, thank you, that's wonderful.
I knew you'd be totally disappointed, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hear some more. That's because Charlie's not here to ask questions and make comments.
My first meeting with you guys went to 8:30. I was like, oh boy.
I try to control that, Dan, but
Yep.
Sometimes, yeah, especially some people have more comments than others, and Tira's budget stuff, she does so much that
Right,
it takes a good chunk.
yeah,
Without her, that's a good part of the meeting.
yeah.
So all right, next meeting is August 21st, 6:30, and we can
Okay.
adjourn at 7:35. I don't know how I can tell Amy, but you guys go ahead and have a good night.
Thank you.